Prime Minister Narendra Modi talks to his Vietnamese counterpart Pham Minh Chinh. Both leaders review the state of bilateral relations and share their views on different areas of cooperation. Prime Minister Modi congratulates Pham Minh Chinh on his appointment as the Prime Minister of Vietnam. India crosses the landmark achievement of 37 crore vaccines being administered in its fight against COVID-19. More than 30.55 lakh vaccine doses have been administered in the last 24 hours. In Bihar, NDRF and SDRF teams engaged in rescue and relief operations as 10 districts of the state are badly affected due to flood. Relief camps and community kitchens set up in most affected areas. UN Security Council extends cross-border aid operation into Syria from Turkey for 12 months. India, while joining the consensus, reaffirms its commitment to Syrian-led, Syrian-owned, UN-facilitated political process. U.S. President Joe Biden nominates Los Angeles Mayor Eric M. Garcetti as the new U.S. envoy to India. Garcetti becomes the 26th ambassador to India. And in sports, defending champion Novak Djokovic to face Italy's Matteo Berrettini in the men's final. Ashley Barty faces Carolina Pliskova in the women's final in Wimbledon 2021. Well, our top story, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today had a phone conversation with Prime Minister of Vietnam, Pham Minh Chinh. The Prime Minister congratulated Pham Minh Chinh on his appointment as Prime Minister of Vietnam and expressed confidence that India-Vietnam Comprehensive Strategic Partnership will continue to become stronger under his able guidance. Prime Minister Modi welcomed the fact that both countries share a similar vision of an open, inclusive, peaceful and rule-based Indian Ocean region. The Prime Minister also noted that both India and Vietnam were presently fellow members of the UN Security Council. Prime Minister thanked PM Chinh for valuable support provided by the government and people of Vietnam during the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic in India. The leaders agreed that both countries should continue consultations and cooperation to support each other's continuing efforts against the pandemic. The leaders agreed that both countries should continue consultations and cooperation to support each other's continuing efforts against the pandemic. Both Prime Ministers reviewed the state of bilateral relations and shared their views on different areas of cooperation. Noting that the year 2022 marked the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries, they agreed to celebrate this auspicious milestone in a befitting manner through various commemorative activities. And my colleague Arun Sharma joins us for more on the story. Arun, what would you say were the big takeaways between this phone call between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Chinh?
Well, that's right, Amrit. Now, there are a couple of big takeaways as far as this telephonic conversation is concerned. First of all, we know this fact that the Prime Minister of Vietnam has assumed the new leadership as far as Vietnam is concerned. And so, in that context, Prime Minister Modi congratulated the Prime Minister of Vietnam and of course, he also said that under the leadership of PM Vietnam, the India-Vietnam Comprehensive Strategic Partnership also is stronger going forward. You know this fact that the strategic partnership between India and Vietnam was upgraded to a comprehensive strategic partnership in 2016. And we also know this fact that as far as Vietnam is concerned, Vietnam has also showed interest as far as India's co-vaccine is concerned. So now, as soon as the World Health Organization gives approval to the co-vaccine, Vietnam has already shown interest as far as Covaxin, and a lot of discussions were also held as to how can collaboration and cooperation can be established and can be done as far as vaccination is concerned. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also thanked the Vietnamese Prime Minister because the way the Vietnam extended help during the second wave of the pandemic in India. Vietnam also extended help as far as various healthcare aid and supplies are concerned. So in that context, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also thanked the Vietnamese Prime Minister. And interestingly, we also know this fact, Amrit, that if you look at the big takeaway of this entire telephonic conversation, now Prime Minister Narendra Modi has welcomed and the Vietnam side and said that both the countries share a similar vision of an open, peaceful and rule-based Indian Ocean region, and India-Vietnam comprehensive strategic partnership, of course, can promote the regional stability and development in the region. So this can be considered as a big takeaway. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi noting this point and, of course, sharing and welcoming this, the fact that Vietnam also shares an equal vision of peaceful and rule-based Indian Ocean region. So these are some of the big takeaways. And last but not the least, Amrit, we know this fact that India and Vietnam will be completing 50 years of the diplomatic ties that were established. So various cultural events and the commemorative events are also being lined up in 2022 because India and Vietnam also share a rich and historic cultural linkage. There are also cultural linkages as well. So in that context, various commemorative events will be lined up. And as India and Vietnam primarily, are the fellow members as far as United Security Council is concerned. So earlier also we have seen that how India and Vietnam have raised this issue and said that there has to be reforms at the United Nations and of course at the UNSC level as well, because current composition of United Nations and UNSC does not actually reflect the kind of reality that this world is witnessing. So they both have raised this issue of reforms at the United Nations. So yes, in that context, a holistic approach was there as far as this bilateral or primarily this telephonic conversation is concerned between India and Vietnam today as of now. Amrit?
Arun, as India established itself as a strong pillar of the Indo-Pacific, given the geographical placement of Vietnam, how important could be this relationship between India and Vietnam to fostering a more rule-based, a more inclusive, a more transparent, order, especially at the high seas of the Indo-Pacific?
So, Amrit, we know this that earlier also this year when the Quad meeting was done. At that time also India raised this point that there is a need, of course, for a rule-based Indian Ocean region. And the Quad members also supported this idea of the Indo-Pacific, and there has to be an open, inclusive, international law-abiding, peaceful, and of course, a rule-based Indo-Pacific or Indian Ocean region. We know this fact, they are like country like China for that matter. There are countries that are indulging in expansionism approach, unilateral expansionism approach. And, there are countries that are having conflict and they're trying to create instability in this region. And be it Vietnam, be it Philippines, and be it other countries in this entire region. So there are, of course, conflicts on the maritime or on the land basis. So, there is a need for creating stability and in the entire region. And for that, it is very much important that there has to be open, transparent, inclusive, peaceful, and rule-based of Indo-Pacific, which is in benefit of all the countries in this region. So yes, in that context, Vietnam sharing the same idea of Indo-Pacific, sharing the same idea of a peaceful Indian Ocean region is very significant for a country like India as well. Amrit?
Okay. The two leaders also discussed that they should, continue their consultations and cooperation in the continuing efforts against the pandemic. What sort of cooperation could we see on that? And also also Prime Minister Modi thanked Prime Minister Shin for this valuable support provided by Vietnam during the second wave, which resulted in a lot of loss of life and a lot of spread of infection in India.
So Amit, you know this fact that World Health Organization has also said that there has to be equitable distribution as far as vaccines are concerned, and there is need for the collaborative approach as well as far as when we talk about the vaccination part. Now, you know, we know this fact that India has developed these two Make in India, Made in India vaccines, that is Covaxin. Developed by ICMR and Bharat Biotech, and Covishield as well. You know, that is developed by SII and so we know this fact that Vietnam primarily has shown interest as far as India's Covaxin is concerned. So, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also said this on various platforms, domestic platform, international platforms, and multilateral platforms as well, that there is a need for a collaborative approach and cooperative efforts are needed to defeat the virus. Because until and unless we all are safe, we can never say that we are safe. So there is a need that there has to be equitable distribution for vaccination aspect as well. During this second wave of COVID pandemic, we saw that how Vietnam, I mean, the help poured in from almost all the countries from the of the world to India when we saw a spike in the number of cases. Recently, Vietnam was also one of the countries which, you know, extended help as far as healthcare equipment, healthcare supplies, medicines are concerned. So, albeit the oxygen concentrators or oxygen-related infrastructure is concerned, Vietnam was at forefront as far as extending help to India at that point in time. So, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also thanked Vietnamese leadership for this help that was extended by Vietnam during this spike that was seen recently in India. And, you know, we know this fact that as far as vaccination part is concerned or vaccines are concerned, India is also ensuring that how can we vaccinate the Indians, and of course, how can this help be extended to other countries as well? The Vietnam has, as I mentioned earlier, has shown interest in the vaccine called Covaxin of India, and if whenever the WHO gives approval to Covaxin, which is very much likely now, the Vietnam is very much likely to procure Covaxin as well. So yes, as far as the vaccination part is concerned and COVID infrastructure is concerned or health-related infrastructure is concerned, cooperation and collaboration, these things were discussed between India and Vietnam today also.
Okay, Arun Sharma, many thanks for joining us and giving us that update. And India has crossed yet another milestone in the COVID vaccination drive as the total vaccination coverage has crossed 37 crore mark. Union Health Ministry has termed it as India's landmark achievement in the fight against COVID-19. Cumulatively, 37.21 crore beneficiaries have been vaccinated so far. The new phase of universalization of COVID-19 vaccination commenced from the 21st of June. More than 30.55 lakh vaccine doses were administered on Friday. Over 19.5 lakh vaccine doses were administered as first dose, and 11.05 lakh vaccine doses were given as a second dose in the age group of 18 to 44 years yesterday. And India continues to see a steady decline in the new daily COVID-19 cases. In the last 24 hours, 42,766 new cases were reported in the country. Less than 50,000 daily new cases have been reported since the 13th continuous day. With this, the country's active caseload now stands at 4,55,033. Active cases are now only 1.48% of the country's total positive cases. Recovery showing a sustained increasing trend. As many as 45,254 patients have recovered during the last 24 hours. So far, a total of 2,99,33,538 patients have recovered across the country. India's recovery rate has now increased to 97.2%. While on one side, the testing capacity is being increased across the country, a continued decline in the weekly cases and the weekly positivity rate is noticed. Weekly positivity rate is currently at 2.34%, while the daily positivity case rate stands at 2.19% today. The daily positivity rate has remained less than 3% for the 19 consecutive days now and has remained below 5% for 33 consecutive days. And for more on that story, I'm joined by my colleague Shama Mishra from Mumbai to give an update on the situation in the state. Shama, hi. Tell us what the situation in Maharashtra right now is.
Talking about Maharashtra, we were seeing that there was a steady decline from the earlier 68,000 cases being reported every day. Maharashtra was successful in getting it down to 10,000 and 8,000 also, and below 8,000 also. But the concern is that this number is hovering around the 9,000 and 10,000 mark, and that is a cause of concern for the Maharashtra government and the also health department as well. Other than this, we are also seeing the fatalities every day that is happening. That is another cause of concern. So yesterday we did see that close to 200 people, close to 200 deaths have been reported from the state of Maharashtra. And every day we are also noticing that the backlog deaths have also been added to the number of daily deaths that are reported. So these numbers are also a cause of concern. But talking about the vaccination, as you've already said, that India has achieved a milestone mark, and in that Maharashtra has a big role to play, because Maharashtra has already crossed the 3 crore mark, and 3 crore mark alone, and Maharashtra has been vaccinating close to 4 lakh people every day. But due to shortage of vaccine doses, some places like Mumbai, Thane or Kalyan Dombili, these places halt the vaccination drive in the civic run centers, but the private run centers are currently on. So daily count, if we are saying the target is 4 lakh each day, due to the closure of the vaccination drive in some particular areas, this comes close to 2 lakh. So yesterday's number was close to 2 lakh, and we are seeing that in total 3 crore 50 close to 60 lakh people have been the vaccination doses have been administered. This comprises of both first and second doses. Majorly the first dose of the vaccination has been carried out on several people. Apart from that, we were also seeing that the cause of concern now is overcrowding in many places, including the hill stations, the market areas and other areas. And we also saw that Prime Minister had raised a concern regarding this. Yesterday, Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Ajit Pawar, he took a review meeting, and he mentioned that those who are found flouting the norms of COVID protocol, they would be booked and they would be fined. And he has asked people to follow the COVID appropriate behavior, maintain social distancing, and wear their masks properly. Because now we are seeing that as the numbers and as the graph steadily comes down, it's started declining, people have again become complacent and they are letting their guards down, which should not happen. And that is why time and again, with the help of DD News also, we are telling people that they should not let their guards down. They should follow the COVID appropriate behavior. Coming back to the vaccination drive, as I was saying, that because of the shortage of doses, today also in Mumbai, this is the second consecutive day that Mumbai, in the civic run centers, Mumbai, Thane, Kalyan, Dombili, these areas have kept the vaccination drive shut. The private run centers, however, they are working, and as soon as the stocks are coming back, they are restocked. The vaccination drive will once again begin in Maharashtra, and people would be informed through various measures, including Twitter or other digital methods. So yes, Maharashtra, on one hand, they are trying to vaccinate a target of 70% population before the third wave hits us, and on the other hand, we are also preparing with the oxygen generators, oxygen concentrators, oxygen plants at all districts, then pediatric wards or pediatric facilities at even the makeshift hospitals, different hospitals, because it is said that the third wave could be more dangerous for kids as well. Another thing I'd like to add here, that Mumbai, few hospitals in Mumbai, they have started the trial run for vaccinating children, because we are also seeing that children can also get vaccinated, and that trial run is happening over here. Once that is successful, then we can have children below the age of 18 also in the ambit of vaccination drive, and then overall we can achieve the 70% mark in Maharashtra alone.
Okay. Shama, any news on opening up, especially or the relaxations, especially are you hearing anything on restarting the Mumbai locals?
Restarting Mumbai locals is not currently in sight right now, because last time also we had seen when the Mumbai locals were slowly beginning in phase-wise manner. First for it was always on for the essentials, then it was started for the ladies, and then the general public. Then the numbers started rising. The second wave, that was the beginning of the second wave, and in the same time, the Mumbai locals were also opened up, which also contributed to the second wave. So now it will be carefully looked at. It is carefully being analyzed whether or not the Mumbai locals should be open for all or not. And this would be, still being, it will still remain in question. Opening up other facilities is also a far-sighted situation currently, because the Delta Plus variant was also detected in various places in Maharashtra, including the Ratnagiri area and Jalgaon, Mumbai also. So for now, these overcrowded areas, these city areas will be under keen watch, so that the number of cases or the graph of spread should not happen from these places, and this should be under control. So Maharashtra, each Thursday, every district administration, they review the entire situation on 2 points. One is the oxygen bed occupancy, and the other is positivity rate. Both of these, if the criteria meets, then they can decide on which level, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 levels their area could be. And Mumbai especially, we are seeing that Mumbai has been improving on these 2 points, on these 2 criteria. However, the restrictions remain same of level 3, and we are seeing that these shops or other non-essential these stalls or non-essential facilities, they still remain open only till 4 o'clock, and after that they are told to shut. Even the weekends, they are not allowed to open. Only the essential shops are allowed to open on weekends, and that is also till 4 o'clock. The essential, I'm not talking about the chemists and all, they could be opening, they could open 24/7, but other than that, the milk, dairy and grain shops and all, they have to remain shut on weekends, and on weekdays they have to remain till 4 o'clock.
Okay. Any relief one could expect for the flyers, fully vaccinated flyers who are flying into Maharashtra, if somebody say has got both shots, and could he be exempted from the mandatory COVID-19 tests, etc.? Anything that you're hearing or any buzz on that?
So for international flyers, it was already told that those who are already vaccinated, they could show their certificates, and if they are going for some medical emergency, then they could produce their certificates and some written documents that they have been vaccinated. They could produce that, and they could get exempted from the quarantine. Apart from that, we are seeing that since the number of cases are also rising in other states, Maharashtra can also get stricter again. For now, the entire sensitive origins, the 7 sensitive origin places, that still remains over here. However, as you've rightly mentioned, that the talks are going on, but nothing on that, nothing concrete on that has come, that if you're vaccinated, then you could be exempted. That could happen in few days' time.
All right, Shama, we'll leave it there. Many thanks for joining us and giving us that update. Excuse me. Well, moving on to South now. In Tamil Nadu, the state government today extended its COVID-19 lockdown till the 19th of July with further easing of restrictions. The new relaxations will come into force from the 12th of July. According to guidelines, operation of buses to Puducherry will be allowed. Shops and other activities will be allowed till 9 p.m. Tests for jobs may take place with all SOPs in place. Hotels to open with 50% customers till 9 p.m. Interstate public transport except to Puducherry prohibited. Social, political, entertainment, sports and cultural events remain banned. Schools, colleges, theatres and all liquor bars will remain closed. Swimming pools and zoological parks will also remain closed. And in Kerala, a weekend lockdown has come into force across the state today. Despite the rainfall, police have been deployed on the roads for strict compliance of lockdown rules. Markets across the state will remain closed till Monday morning. Kerala government had earlier ordered complete lockdown on weekends in a bid to contain the spread of COVID-19. The state has registered a hike of over 2,900 COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative data to cross 1,35,000. In Gujarat, the night curfew has been lifted in 10 out of 18 urban areas amid a sharp drop in daily new COVID-19 cases from the state. From today onwards till the 20th of this month, the night curfew will be in force in only 8 major cities, which are Ahmedabad, Surat, Rajkot, Vadodara, Bhavnagar, Jamnagar, Junagadh and Gandhinagar. The decision to lift the COVID-19 curfew in 10 other cities was taken by State Chief Minister Vijay Rupani after reviewing the situation. And the Tripura government has also reimposed a weekend curfew beginning from today in a bid to break the chain of COVID-19. However, there will be no restrictions on movement of vehicles for essential commodities and for medical purposes. The weekend curfew will end on 6 a.m. on Monday. And amid the state of Uttarakhand witnessing an influx of tourists as it reopened after a COVID-19 induced closure, the state government has issued new COVID guidelines. The government has capped hotel occupancy in Nainital and Dehradun to 50%. Uttarakhand's Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami said that challans are being issued in the state for not wearing masks.
नैनीताल दोनों जगह जहाँ ज़्यादा भीड़ होती है वहाँ ऑर्डर निकाले हैं कि 50% से ज़्यादा कैपेसिटी पर होटलों के कमरे बुक न किए जाएं और साथ ही साथ जो लोग मास्क नहीं लगा रहे हैं उनके चालान काटे जा रहे हैं और साथ में पुलिस के द्वारा मास्क भी वितरित किए जा रहे हैं। हमारे यहाँ पर कोरोना से हम लोग हर हाल में उससे लड़ने के लिए, लोगों को बचाने के लिए पूरी तरह सतर्क हैं, सजग हैं। जो भी गाइडलाइन है उनका पूरी तरह से पालन करवाया जाएगा।
And news just coming into unidentified terrorists were neutralized by security forces in Kawari Ranipura area of Anantnag district in Jammu and Kashmir. As per reports, the encounter is still going on. And in Bihar, flood has wreaked havoc in Darbhanga, Samastipur, West Champaran and Muzaffarpur districts of the state as flood water is fastly engulfing fresh areas of these districts. Flood situation turned grim in Darbhanga following the breach of the embankment at 4 places. People from low-lying areas are being shifted to safer places. 10 districts including East Champaran, West Champaran, Sitamarhi and Madhubani were reeling under the impact of floods. In Samastipur, the water level of the Budhi Gandak river has crossed the danger mark, due to which flood water has entered more than 500 houses situated near the embankment of various places including Dharampur, Petia Gachi and Magar Dahi Ghat in the city. Incessant rain has breached many guide embankments in West Champaran district. The water of the Masan river is entering the Ramrekha river through canals due to breach in the guide embankment. Due to rising water level of the Gandak river, the villagers in many places are migrating to higher places. 12 teams of the NDRF and SDRF are engaged in rescue and relief operations in 10 districts of the state. Relief camps and community kitchens are being run in most affected areas. And for more on that story, my colleague Salman Haider now joins us. Salman, give us a sense of, first of all, we've told our viewers what the situation across the state is. Please add to it and tell us what the latest situation as far as floods go, as far as what the district administration is doing for, rescue or rehabilitation of, or for the moment relief for those who are affected, whose houses might have been washed away or submerged in the waters in the state.
Yes, Amrit, road communication is already affected, and the rail communication between Muzaffarpur and Darbhanga is badly hampered as water has gushed up to the level of the girder of a railway pull in Samastipur. So major trains like Pawan Express, Ganga Sagar Special Train, and some other major trains including Jan Nayak Express, Raxaul Habra Express are being operated via Darbhanga, Sitamarhi and Muzaffarpur rail route. The operation of train on the down line of the Samastipur Darbhanga rail section has been stopped from today due to water of the Budhi Gandak river touched the girder of rail bridge number 1 located near Samastipur railway station of East Central Rail. So now as far as relief and rescue operations are concerned, the district administration of the respective districts are keeping a close eye on these operations, and more than 30,000 people have been evacuated from the inundated areas. In Muzaffarpur district, the district magistrate Pranab Kumar visited the flood affected Kanti and Meenapur blocks of the district, which are worst affected. So, and he met the affected families in Mithansarai, Panapur, Harshad, Ghusaut, and Bada Bharti Panchayat of the block, and inquired about the rescue and relief operations. Some people also requested him for the fodder for their kettles, because there is no fodder available for the kettles as a vast area has been submerged in the flood waters. So the plight of people is great, and the people are relying on official official help. Yes, Amrish. This is the situation.
Okay. Salman, also give us a sense of what is the situation of the rain. Is it still raining in parts of the state, especially in the foothills of the mountainous region of Nepal and that area of Bihar which is adjoining Nepal? And also give us a sense of what is the Met Department saying for in its forecast for, say, tomorrow or day after?
The Met Department has predicted light to moderate rain for the next 24 hours, but there are reports of raining in catchment areas of Nepal, from where the water in Gandak comes to Indian side. And as far as Indian side is concerned, Bihar is particularly concerned. Gopalganj, Siwan, Muzaffarpur, Vaishali, and even East Champaran and West Champaran have registered moderate to heavy rainfall in scattered fashion. But in and around Patna and adjoining areas, there was no rain today, and somewhere scorching heat and humid heat was there. So in coming days, more rain are predicted right now. So the plight of the people of flood affected areas remains the same. Yes.
Oh, you're saying in these districts that you mentioned, Gopalganj, Rajouri, Siwan, etc., Gaya, there could be more rains in the coming days.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Salman, many thanks. You keep an eye on the developments there. We'll keep coming back to you. Many thanks for the moment for joining us. Thank you. Meanwhile, a heavy downpour in Jammu and Kashmir has brought some respite from the heat wave. As per the Indian Meteorological Department, Jammu is likely to witness partly cloudy weather with rainfall, thunderstorm and dust storm today. Meanwhile, the national capital and north-western parts of the country are sizzling under a heat wave and delayed monsoon. According to the last bulletin of the India Meteorological Department, conditions are favorable for further advance of the southwest monsoon over Delhi along with the remaining parts of western Uttar Pradesh during the next 24 hours. Conditions are also becoming favorable for further advance of the southwest monsoon over remaining parts of the country on the 11th and 12th of July. As per these conditions, fairly widespread rainfall is likely over northwestern India during the next 5 days. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on a visit to Georgia today, held bilateral meeting with Vice Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Georgia in Tbilisi. The External Affairs Minister also met the Indian community representatives from Sonori, Kakheti, and Dr. Jaishankar also congratulated Pravasi Bharatiya Samman awardee Darpan Prasha. And in some international news, the United Nations Security Council on Friday extended a cross-border operation into Syria from Turkey that ensures UN aid access to millions of Syrians for the next 12 months. The Council reached the agreement to extend activity at the only border crossing through which humanitarian aid reaches the rebel-held region of northwest Syria after Russia agreed to compromise in a last-minute talks with the United States. The US and Russia came together to put forward the compromise resolution supported by Ireland and Norway, which hold the file on Syria's humanitarian situation in the Council and have guided months of negotiations. The resolution reauthorizes the use of Bab al-Hawa, the crossing point, for another 6 months. It was due to expire on today. It will then automatically be renewed for 6 more months until July 2022. The UN Secretary General also instructed the report to the Council on the aid operation in January. More than 3.4 million people live in the area outside the government-controlled serviced by 1,008 trucks that cross through the Bab al-Hawa each month. Friday's vote was the first time since 2016 that the Council was able to unanimously reach a decision on extending the cross-border aid operation. India, meanwhile, joining the consensus on the Security Council Syrian humanitarian resolution on Friday, reaffirmed its commitment to the Syrian-led, Syrian-owned, UN-facilitated political process. The Ambassador of India to United Nations, Ambassador T.S. Tirumurti, while explaining India's vote on Syria, said that India firmly believes that long-term security and stability of this region can only be achieved by preserving the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Syria.
The decade-long violence and terror has caused devastating impact on the lives of Syrians. Syria, which was the fulcrum of Arab culture and a leading voice in the region, is now facing a precarious situation. India has been calling for enhanced and effective humanitarian assistance to all Syrians throughout the country, without discrimination, politicization, or preconditions. Today's adoption, therefore, will reassure 3.4 million people in northwest Syria. We also need to reflect on the humanitarian situation not just in northwest, but also on the rest of the territory of Syria. India firmly believes that long-term security and stability of this region can only be achieved by preserving the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Syria. We are deeply concerned with the involvement of external actors in Syria, which is making the situation worse. We also remain convinced that there can be no military solution to the Syrian conflict, and we reaffirm our commitment to advancing a Syrian-led and a Syrian-owned UN-facilitated political process in line with UN Security Council Resolution 2254.
U.S. President Joe Biden has nominated Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti as his ambassador to India. If confirmed by the Senate, Garcetti would replace Kenneth Juster, who served as India's ambassador to the U.S. during the Trump administration. Earlier this week, Juster was appointed as Distinguished Fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. Garcetti has been the mayor of Los Angeles since 2013, following 12 years as a member of the city council, including 6 as council president. He is the current chair of C40 Cities, a network of 97 of the world's biggest cities taking climate action, and has led the organization's engagement and expansion in India as well as C40's global response to the COVID pandemic through the sharing of best practices and resources. Colombia will be sending law enforcement and intelligence officials to help Haiti following the assassination of President Jovenel Moisete and arrests of the nationals by the Haitian authorities. Colombian President Ivan Duque on Friday said that the head of the National Intelligence Directorate and the Intelligence Director for the National Police will also travel to Haiti with Interpol to assist in the investigations. The assassination of Moise, a 53-year-old former businessman, drew international outcry and pushed Haiti deeper into a political crisis. Police in Haiti said that the assassination was carried out by a squad of 26 Colombian and 2 Haitian American mercenaries. Authorities are still hunting for the masterminds behind the operation. Meanwhile, in response to the Haitian government, the U.S. will send senior officials from FBI and Department of Homeland Security to Port-au-Prince to help after the assassination of President Moisete and assess the situation.
In response to the Haitian government's request for security and investigative assistance, we will be sending senior FBI and DHS officials to Port-au-Prince as soon as possible to assess the situation and how we may be able to assist. Our assistance is to help the people of Haiti and to help them get through what is a very challenging time and has long been even before the assassination of the president. So the investigation is not going to impact the assistance we're providing to the people of Haiti.
The Bangladesh police today arrested the owner of a factory where 52 people had died in an inferno as it emerged that children as young as 11 had been working there. He has been booked for murder. Police said that the owner of the food factory and 4 of his sons were among the 8 people detained over the fire that broke out on Thursday and raged for more than a day. A separate inquiry has been lodged into the use of child labor at the facility. Police chief for Narayanganj district, where the factory is located, said the entrance had been padlocked at the time of the blaze and the factory breached multiple fire and safety regulations. In Argentina, hundreds of people took to Buenos Aires on the country's Independence Day to showcase their resentment towards President Alberto Fernandez over depressed economy of the country. The South American country reels from a flailing economy that was already struggling before COVID-19 pandemic. In Nepal, heavy rainfall and floods have inundated capital Kathmandu. The flood situation in the country has been affecting vehicular movement. Roads, temples, fields and residential areas have been submerged under flood water as per the Meteorological Forecasting Division of Nepal. Very heavy rainfall in subparts of Bagmati, Gandaki and Lumbini provinces is likely to occur this week. Monsoon annual rainfall pattern, which remains activated in the Himalayan nation from June to August, recharges most of the rivers and tribunals, which often results in flooding and sometimes sweeps away the land masses. As many as 51 people have lost their lives in less than a month since the activation of the monsoon, as the floods, landslides and inundation induced by the weather pattern wreaks havoc across the nation. Well, in the United States, the death toll from Miami building collapse has risen to 79 after workers recovered an additional 14 bodies from the rubble. So far, a total of 61 people remain missing and feared dead. Along with this, Miami-Dade Country Mayor Danielia Levine Cava offered a small piece of good news, saying that a cat that lived at the surf side has been rescued and returned to its family. This comes as rescue workers reduced the pile of rubble down nearly to ground level. Earlier in June, a 12-story condominium tower on the beachfront in Florida's Surfside collapsed, claiming several lives. And let's now take a look at the update on the COVID-19 situation from across the world. The virus has infected over 18 crore 68 lakh people worldwide, while the number of recoveries stand above 17 crore 9 lakh. So far, it has claimed more than 40 lakh 35,000 lives globally. The U.S. continues to remain the worst affected from COVID-19, with the number of cases crossing 3 crore 47 lakh. The number of fatalities from the virus stands at above 6 lakh 22,000. And the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, or the CDC, and Prevention on Friday updated its guidance, including recommending masking indoors for everyone who is not fully vaccinated and 3 feet of distance within classrooms. The CDC, in its latest guidance, said that all kindergarten through grade 12 schools in the U.S. should continue to mandate wearing masks indoors by all individuals who are not fully vaccinated. The school have been asked to monitor closely for increases in COVID-19 cases before removing the next prevention strategy. CDC also increased a study that showed that half of the unvaccinated adolescents and parents of unvaccinated adolescents reported being uncertain about getting a COVID-19 vaccine or did not intend to get one at all. The European Union has hit its target of delivering through coronavirus vaccine to cover 70% of the adult population. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that 27 EU member state governments are responsible for administering vaccines to their citizens, and some are working much faster than others. The EU joint vaccine purchasing scheme run by von der Leyen's European Commission has delivered 330 million BioNTech Pfizer shots, 100 million AstraZeneca and 50 million from Moderna and 20 million from Johnson & Johnson. But all the J&J jabs require 2 doses to achieve full efficacy, and the EU is home to an estimated 366 million adults. Australia's state of New South Wales on Saturday reported its biggest daily rise in locally acquired coronavirus infections this year. There were 50 new cases of community transmission compared with 44 a day before. This takes the number of the most recent outbreak of the highly infectious Delta variant to 489 cases. No fully vaccinated people have required hospitalization and hospital care, and 79% of those admitted have not had any doses, or the health authorities said.
I think it's pretty clear that unless we reduce that level of people in the community that are infectious, we won't be able to turn things around as quickly as we can or as quickly as we should. And I do want to state that out of those 50 cases, the vast majority of those cases, and I can't stress this enough, are close family or friends of people who have COVID. So people are getting the virus and then spreading it to those closest to them.
Cuba's drug regulator, the Center for State Control of Medicines, Equipment and Medical Devices, has said that it has granted emergency approval of the Abdala COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine is already being deployed on the Caribbean island nation amid a surge in infections. Cuba says that the vaccine has 92.28% efficacy against the coronavirus. The second locally produced COVID-19 vaccine, Soberana 2, is expected to be approved in the next few weeks. Cuba said that the 2-shot vaccine, delivered with a third booster shot called Soberana Plus, has proven 91.2% effective in late-stage clinical trials against the coronavirus. Japan has issued evacuation requests to more than 1.2 lakh residents in some southern prefectures due to heavy rain today, just days after deadly landslides struck the sea city of Atami, southwest of Tokyo. The Japan Meteorological Agency issued its highest rain alerts in 3 prefectures on Kyushu Island, prompting some local governments to order residents to evacuate. And in sports, Novak Djokovic reached his 30th Grand Slam final on Friday with a straight sets win over Canada's Denis Shapovalov to move one victory away from a 6th Wimbledon title and a record equaling to a 20th major. The world number one triumphed 7-6, 7-5, 7-5 in a tense semi-final in which he crucially saved 10 of the 11 break points. In his 7th Wimbledon final, Djokovic will face Matteo Berrettini after the world number 9 became the first Italian to reach a Wimbledon singles final by beating Hubert Hurkacz. And the world number 1 Ashley Barty in the women's faces the 8th seed Karolina Pliskova in the Wimbledon 2020 the women's singles final at the All England Club in London. Moving on to the grass court, Barty became the first Australian woman to reach the finals at Wimbledon since 1980 when Evonne Goolagong took home the silver plate. Both women were thoroughly tested in their respective semi-final matches as Barty had to fend off a second set comeback from former champion Angelique Kerber to claim a 6-3, 7-6 win. Meanwhile, Pliskova survived a 3-set battle against second seed Ariana Sabalenka for 5-7, 6-4, 6-4 victory. The pair have met 6 times so far in their careers, with Barty holding an advantage with 4 wins, including the most recent quarterfinal meeting earlier this year at the Stuttgart Open, which the Australian went on to win. Barty has one doubles win over Pliskova. The Board of Control for Cricket in India and Sri Lanka Cricket on Saturday announced the revised itinerary of India's upcoming tour to Sri Lanka. The decision to revise the itinerary was taken on the basis of health advisory after the Sri Lankan contingent detected 2 positive cases. The tour, comprising of 3 ODIs and many T20 IS, will now start from the 18th of July 2021. England and Italy are into the finals of the Euro Cup 2020. Now we saw a detailed round of discussions and got a fair idea on whose side is going to be more dominating. Take a look at this report.
England will hope to clinch a first major tournament triumph for 55 years when they face Italy on home soil in the Euro 2020 final at Wembley on Sunday night. Not since that famous extra-time success over West Germany in 1966 have the Three Lions even reached another showpiece, with painful near misses at the World Cups of 1990 and 2018, as well as familiar penalty attack at Euro 96. But Gareth Southgate has now led England into an exciting new era with young squad bursting with talent and depth and largely free of the burdens and heavy expectation of the past, with Captain Harry Kane's extra-time goal, the rebound from his own saved penalty, defeating Denmark in the semis after Simon Kjær's own goal cancelled out Mikhail Damsgaard's stunning free kick. Before that, there was the quarter-final thrashing of Ukraine in Rome, the historic last 16 defeat of Germany at Wembley, and efficient victories over Croatia and the Czech Republic that secured top spot in Group D. Now, in their first ever European Championship final, England battled a formidable Italy team that have plenty of momentum of their own after a hugely impressive campaign to this point. Italy head into Sunday's final unbeaten in 33 matches and have been gathering momentum throughout Euro 2020 since their opening win against Turkey. After overcoming Belgium, ranked number 1 in the world, the 3-time European champions Spain in the knockout stage, they will fear no one. Their team includes veteran defender Giorgio Chiellini and Leonardo Bonucci, who have both impressed during the tournament. Sunday will be Azzurri's 10th major tournament final and their 4th European Championship final. Sports Desk, DD India.
And now for some news from the ongoing Cannes Film Festival. The fourth day saw major films being premiered, and new premieres mean several celebrities donning lavish gowns and fitted tuxedos. Here's what happened on day 4.
As the Cannes Film Festival is back to its physical format, tales of gender inequality, racism, war and the pandemic have dominated an impressive lineup from around the world. This year, the festival has also introduced a new section, Cinema for the Climate. Also, for the first time in the long history of Cannes, a black person is heading its competition jury. American independent director Spike Lee is the president of the jury that has more female than male members. Taking a quick glance at the screenings guide, the fourth day saw films like The Worst Person in the World, Lingui, Benedetta and La Fracture being premiered. In a series of out-of-box films, each of the films depict a coming-of-generation challenge. Director Paul Verhoeven brought the cast of Benedetta to the film festival's red carpet for the world premiere of the film. The movie shows Virginia Efira playing Benedetta, a young novice who joins a convent in Tuscany in the 17th century, and whose visions start to upset life within the cloistered walls. The film by Verhoeven is one of the most highly anticipated entries in the Cannes Film Festival's movie competition. Simultaneously, Josh O'Connor premiered his post-World War I love drama, Mothering Sunday, walking the red carpet alongside French director Eva Hassan. Set on a spring Mother's Day in 1924 Britain, the film follows housemaid Jane, played by Odessa Young. Based on the book Mothering Sunday by Graham Swift, the film screening as part of the festival's premiere section also stars Oscar winners Colin Firth and Olivia Colman.
I'm terribly sorry, madam, but you have the wrong number.
Meanwhile, the director behind Lingui hoped that the film resonates beyond its niche, including in the United States, where women in some states face similar struggles. Lingui, which translates as the sacred bonds, and a reference at one point in the film to family ties, centers on single mother Amina, who has been stigmatized her whole life and who is horrified when her own 15-year-old daughter, Maria, falls pregnant. Soon after which, she starts the struggle to get her daughter's child aborted. The festival, which will run till July 17th, will see another set of contemporary films, which will obviously be worth the wait. Bureau Report, DD India.
And that's it in News Connect then. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.